Imagine a king, revered as a saint, his face hidden behind a golden mask that shines like divine light, yet conceals a darkness so profound it could shatter the soul of a kingdom. This is not a story of glory or conquest. This is the story of Baldwin IV, the leper king of Jerusalem, a man whose body was a battlefield and whose will forged a secret empire of terror. A tale where faith becomes a weapon, love a chain, and power a machine that grinds humanity to dust. Buckle up, because this journey into the heart of a holy city's darkest secrets will leave you questioning the price of divinity. And when you're done, hit that like button, share the story with the world, and subscribe for more gripping tales that peel back the veil of history, because the truth is worth uncovering, and your support keeps these stories alive. In the year 1180, Jerusalem was a city of fervent prayer, its streets echoing with the clanging bells of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the mournful calls from minarets. At its heart was Baldwin IV, the leper king, a figure draped in silks of Tyre, his gloved hand steady on a white Arabian stallion, his golden mask reflecting the sun's merciless glare. To his people, he was a living saint, God's chosen warrior in a land besieged by enemies. But the mask was not made of gold alone, it was forged from fear. The fear of courtiers who never saw the face beneath, the fear of enemies who saw only an impassive icon charging into battle, and the deepest fear of all, that of a young king suffocating inside his own decaying body. The leprosy that ravaged Baldwin was no mere illness, it was a ravenous beast eating him from within. Yet, in the marbled halls of the palace, this truth was a secret guarded by silence, whispered only in the rustle of silk curtains and the metallic click of the mask's latch in the dead of night. The palace by day was a theater of piety, priests with gleaming crosses, knights with calloused hands, and Baldwin's sister, Sibylla, her ambition a sharp perfume, all orbited the Golden King. They thought they played a game of power, but they were fools. The mask was not a shield for weakness, it was a tool. The real kingdom of Baldwin was ruled by night, in a ritual of survival that began with rose water and ended in horror. When the sun bled over the Judean hills, the palace transformed. Incense gave way to myrrh and the cloying scent of decay. Loyal Templars were replaced by mercenaries who served only coin. In the king's private chambers, servants brought urns of rose water, their eyes fixed to the floor, forbidden to witness the ritual of unmasking. The soft hiss of a latch, a shuddering sigh, and then silence, a silence heavier than any scream. Physicians worked in the shadows, unwinding bandages from flesh that no longer clung to the body. The servants outside trembled, hearing the scrape of silver instruments and the tearing of linen. Sometimes a physician emerged, pale and trembling, carrying a covered basin that reeked of decay. This was the first secret. Baldwin was not just sick, he was disintegrating. But the true horror was not the leprosy's toll on his body, it was what it did to his soul. Raised to believe he was God's instrument, Baldwin now saw his body as a vessel of corruption. He forged a new philosophy. The king, the golden icon, was separate from the decaying cage of flesh. The body had to be disciplined, broken, made a tool of his will. This philosophy birthed the sacred infirmary, a hidden suite of rooms deep in the citadel's foundations, soundproofed with Damascus tapestries and lit by flickering candles. Here, Baldwin and his disgraced confessor, Brother Thomas, practiced a twisted theology. Pain became a language, a way to communicate with a silent God. Whips with leaded tips, hair shirts lined with jagged metal, and ritual fasting pushed Baldwin to the brink of death, his feverish visions interpreted as divine prophecy. But the body had appetites, and Brother Thomas taught that satisfying them in a ritual context was a sacrament, not a sin. The first invitations went not to prostitutes, but to the daughters of pious, noble families, summoned for private prayer vigils with the king. They came expecting to kneel before a saint. They found a monster. The first to be chosen was Eleonora, a 15-year-old daughter of a minor baron from Ascalon. Her family, poor but pious, saw the summons as a miracle. Dressed in white linen, she entered the sacred infirmary with a heart full of devotion. But the chamber was no chapel, it was a blasphemous altar, its walls hung with tapestries of violence, its air thick with myrrh and decay. Baldwin sat on a throne-like chair, his mask removed, revealing a face half ravaged by disease, his eyes cold with absolute authority. Brother Thomas, his voice smooth as a hangman's rope, declared Eleonora the vessel for a sacrament of transference. Her purity would fortify the king's soul, he claimed, twisting her terror into a test of faith. As her dress was unlaced, Eleonora stood frozen, her prayers drowned by fear. Brother Thomas chanted a perverted baptism, and the king watched, impassive, as she was laid on a stone altar beneath a silver mirror. Her body became a canvas for Baldwin's will, her prayers the rhythm of her violation. It was not lust, but a cold experiment in power, proving that the king's will could strip even sanctity of meaning. When it was over, Eleonora was returned to her family, a hollow-eyed effigy. Her father received a velvet-lined box with a rose and a parchment declaring his loyalty to the crown, a gag order signed in her silence. Her family wove a glittering lie of divine favor, but Eleonora became a living relic, a reminder of the price of royal grace. The sacred infirmary evolved. Brother Thomas refined his theology, introducing the sacrament of the witness. 2 sisters, Adela and Isabel from Tripoli, were summoned to embroider a banner, an honor their ambitious father couldn't refuse. In the chamber of mirrors, lined with polished silver, Baldwin sat masked, a divine idol. Brother Thomas declared one sister the offering, the other the witness, forced to narrate her sister's degradation to the king. The mirrors multiplied their agony, reflecting 1,000 versions of their pain. Then, the roles reversed, each sister forced to watch and describe the other's torment. It was a symphony of psychological annihilation, breaking not just bodies but the bonds of love. The king, silent, absorbed their pain through his gaze, his will absolute. The sisters returned to Tripoli, coached by Brother Thomas to radiate beatific calm. Their father's trade dispute was resolved, his wealth secured by their silence. The lie of their holy trial spread, making the sacred infirmary a perverse status symbol. Noble families vied for their daughters to be chosen, unaware they were feeding a machine of despair. The system grew more insidious. A noble knight, sworn to honor, was forced to stand guard during a ritual, his inaction a betrayal of his oaths. A mother from Antioch, believing she was aiding her daughter's health, was made to ring a bell signaling her daughter's torment, her love twisted into complicity. The sacred infirmary became a laboratory for despair, its rituals catalogued in a black ledger, a library of human weakness. The annual Feast of the Pure Heart, held on the king's coronation anniversary, was a grim spectacle. Families of the consecrated, girls sat in silence, their daughters dressed as ghostly brides, while Brother Thomas read from the ledger, announcing lands and titles as rewards for their shame. It was a public auction of their silence, a gilded cage that bound them in shared guilt. But the system had a weakness, human unpredictability. A German pilgrim girl fought back, dying in a struggle that exposed the system's flaws. Baldwin saw opportunity in her death, evolving the rituals into a sacrament of punishment. A guard, Godric, was forced onto the altar with her corpse, violated by his own comrade as the king watched. The lines between victim, perpetrator, and observer dissolved in a nihilistic ritual of degradation. The fear spread to the guards, proving no one was safe. Baldwin, racing against his body's decay, sought to eliminate human choice entirely. He commissioned Elias, a Syrian Christian engineer, to build prayer automata, mechanical monstrosities of bronze and wood. Elias, believing he served a holy cause, crafted machines with articulated limbs and iron manacles, controlled by brass levers. Installed in the chamber of unwavering prayer, they performed with soulless precision, rendering flesh irrelevant. The sacred infirmary became a factory of horror, an industrial process of breaking bodies and minds. The final project was the Iron Angel, a bronze automaton with a clockwork heart, capable of 100 motions. It was Baldwin's ultimate vision, a perpetrator without sin, a victim without suffering, a violation without consequence. But his body rebelled. Too weak to leave his chambers, Baldwin died in 1185, his final command to Elias to let the angel pray. The Iron Angel's gentle motion was a lie, its true purpose hidden in the blood-stained altar and the ledger's chilling schematics. Elias, discovering the truth, realized he had built hell's machinery. As Guy de Lusignan, Baldwin's successor, and Brother Thomas moved to erase the evidence, Elias saw his blueprints, his knowledge untouched. The system's legacy was not in its machines, but in the secrets it had woven into the kingdom's soul. This is the story of Baldwin IV, a king who turned fear into power, faith into a weapon, and love into a chain. But it's also a reminder, the truth, no matter how dark, demands to be told. Share this tale to honor those silenced by history. Hit that like button to stand against the shadows. Subscribe to join us in uncovering the stories that shape our world. Together, we can shine a light on the past and inspire a future of courage. Let's keep the truth alive. Like, share, subscribe.